That one hurts. Ah, man. Jets lose 17-23 to the Vikings in London in a game that the first half, the Jets let this game get away. Tale of two halves. Rodgers did not have a good game. 3 interceptions. Clunky game. Penalties again. Sauce didn't have a good game. Defense clamped down in the second half. Defense ends up giving up, what does that wind up being? 15 points? 16 points total on the day? Rodgers had the pick 6, obviously. We'll talk some stats here first. Give you guys some of my thoughts. Then we'll go over to the Robert Saleh press conference and the Aaron Rodgers press conference, so hang tight with me. Rodgers finishes the day 29 of 54, 244 yards, 2 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Our running game could not get going for a consistent, it seems to be the entire season this has been what it is. Both Breece and Braylon not getting anything going, both averaging 2.6 yards per carry. The interior part of this offensive line did not look good. I thought AVT didn't look great. The John Simpson didn't look great. That interior part of our offensive line was rough. Fashanu gave up a hit on Rodgers towards the end there. Just not acceptable. Not acceptable from a running perspective. Garrett Wilson and Rodgers do get on the same page today. 13 receptions, 101 yards, and a touchdown for Garrett. Lazard, lots of drops. I don't know how many drops he ultimately ended up having. I feel like it was like at least 2 or 3 like bad ones. But man, I'll tell you what, Rodgers does not look good, or he did not look good through like 3 quarters of play. Even towards the end there with the interception, it feels like he's slower right now. It feels like he's showing his age. Before we get too far into this, I do want to thank BetUS for powering this post-game stream. Like I said, we're going to go to Robert Saleh's presser, and we're going to go to Aaron Rodgers' presser after the game. I want to get your thoughts on this game, see what you guys think. I will have the every throw video up shortly. It's going to be over on Twitter, so if you guys want to watch that, make sure you subscribe to my Twitter over there. Last play of the game, Mike Williams, the interception. It feels like Rodgers is consistently throwing that go-get-it ball, that 50-50, that 70-30 ball that we talked about for Mike Williams. It always feels like Rodgers is coming up short on it. They're always just lower. He's not putting enough juice on it. I don't know if that's him not being able to step up into a throw or like thinking Mike Williams is going to have inside leverage. Whatever it is, it just does not feel like that has been on the mark. Man, the decision-making by Rodgers, all 3 interceptions, Rodgers' fault, in my opinion. Bad throw to Garrett. Now, obviously, you had that linebacker, Van Ginkel, lined up on the line of scrimmage, maybe didn't think he was dropping, slides back into the lane. Very much not a good throw, even if he's not there. Like, I don't know if Garrett was like getting hit by the time that ball was starting to get intercepted. The throw to Lazard, too far, too high, not a good throw. The interception at the end of the game there to Mike Williams, again, low throw. So Rodgers not looking sharp. How many times has he had a 3-interception game in his career? I don't know if it's ever happened. He's now got 4 interceptions on the season. You cannot do that. Right now, our biggest players came up weak. Except for Garrett. Garrett had himself a little bit of a day there towards the end. But Sauce getting cooked all day. Honestly, him coming out of the game was, obviously you don't want to see it with the injury or whatnot, but Eccles played all right. Defense did clamp down in the second half. But again, it feels like we're just unprepared. It didn't feel like we had a good game plan going into it. It's hard to blame, Saleh necessarily for what's going on. Like, this felt very much more on the players. The pass interference on Reed pissed me off. I didn't think that should have been a pass interference. Penalties very ticky-tacky today. Thought there were a few on Sauce that didn't look great. Man, we needed this one. 2-3. Look, season's not over. Do you make the trade for Devontae based on what you're seeing right now? Might be a panic move. You got to get a win versus Buffalo now. Got to hope Buffalo dropped. Buffalo's playing Texans today? Got to hope they drop. This is rough. Sam Darnold on the day, 14 of 31, 179 yards, and an interception. So Jets kept him in check. And obviously the one play he comes out for, Nick Mullins has a 24-yard throw to keep that drive alive. Leading receiver, Justin Jefferson, 6 receptions, 92 yards. I don't know how much he had in the second half, but he did draw some pass interference penalties that you're not going to see on the stat sheet there. Jets on the day had 8 penalties for 76 yards. Vikings had 11 for 80. Time of possession wound up leveling itself out a little bit. It was very lopsided early on in this game, skewing towards the Vikings, and the Jets did manage to make that shift to the other direction. Obviously, the running into the kicker or roughing the kicker gave us a little bit of hope. I don't think that should have been the 15-yard variety, but because the defensive player rolled into Morstead's plant leg, we got the 15 yards. That was a gift. Man, really, really frustrating. Really frustrating. Team stats on the day. Jets were 5 of 17 on third down. I don't know what our average down and distance was for third downs, but it felt like we were way behind the sticks, like 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8 all the time. All the time. Jets did recover a fumble. Jets did get an interception, and still that's really the only reason it was kept close. If Rodgers doesn't have the pick 6, this game is tight. It still was tight, I guess, but man, just frustrating to see all the way around. Like I said, guys, we're going to go to Rodgers' presser as soon as it comes live, so just hang tight with me. Let's go into a few comments here. Things that are going on. Soreless. Let's see, where's my comments? Soreless coming in. Is it time we start having the conversation about 8? Rodgers did not look good today. And I think it's something that, honestly, when he got hurt and it seemed like he wasn't going to come back in, we got the 4th down play. I was actually, I don't want to say I was looking forward to Tyrod Taylor, but I thought I needed a wrinkle. I thought the offensive line has been so bad. Tyrod Taylor creating some kind of mobility for the quarterback position might have been beneficial for us. Rodgers is a statue back there. You could tell he's banged up. He's not feeling himself. He's not getting as much zip on the ball. That hamstring, it looked like a hamstring when he got rolled up on. Man, I think it's worth a conversation. Kevin says, why do the Jets like to hurt me so much? It's part of being a Jet fan, my friend. Candy Boot. Lazard sucks. Rodgers looks washed. O-line is inept. Jets are a few more losses away from utter implosion. Un-effing believable. That's how I feel. This team is not ready to win anything right now. Not in the slightest. This team feels clunky. It feels like we have just aged players beyond their prime. I don't blame people for maybe being hesitant on a Davante Adams trade right now. At the same time, I think you have Douglas and Saleh fighting for their job. If they think that some chemistry with a stud receiver can invigorate this offense, fire up the players a little bit, because whatever it is, it doesn't seem like we're self-motivating right now. Oreo says, include Lazard or Williams in a trade for Davante Adams. I don't care. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if it's just a Davante Adams thing, but man, or just I don't know. Lazard looks rough right now. Douglas, will 8 get asked if he let down the defense? Probably. I mean, they might say, like, you had a 3-sack game. Do you feel like you let down your defense? They only gave up 16 points or... Yeah, what did they give up? 17 points? 1, 2, 3, 16 points. Jets defense gave up 16 points. We were put in constant bad positions because of, how Rodgers played. This was not a good game. Jared getting upset at Breece ain't it. That offensive line is not making anyone look very good right now. Not making anyone look very good. But Breece has been struggling all season long. Got to find a way to get him the ball in space. Ed, Ryan, WTF, when is Joe Douglas going to grow a pair of balls and do the right thing and fire Saleh and Hackett? I said 2 of the next 3 games. So they got to win out. They got to win, obviously, versus Buffalo. You got to win versus the Steelers to not lose your job. I think if you drop one more game, if you're Saleh or Hackett, I think that's it. I think that's what you do. Ivan says, is Rodgers healthy? He looks slower than I remember. Arm is great. Look, honestly, I don't even think the arm looks super good. I think he's been off. The zip hasn't quite been there. He looks like he's showing his age right now. It's tough because with this offensive line not playing the way it should be playing, it feels very much like he needs to need some mobility back there. Kelvin says, I wish our passing game, I feel like our passing game needs to be perfect because we don't have a run game. Not being able to run the ball is so brutal. Anytime you run the ball with this team right now, you're giving away an opportunity. You're giving away an opportunity because you're like, oh, okay, we got 4 downs, 3 downs to get a first down. And we're going to run the ball. We're going to go backwards 3 yards, or we're going to get stopped for no gain. And then we're just going to try and do it in 2 plays before we have to punt. That's what it feels like. Harold, I do not like Nathaniel Hackett. He's got to go. I think they should pull play calling responsibilities from Hackett. I think that's the play right now. You saw Rodgers start to do like the whole, hey, let's get the ball going. Let's get the play call in. That was clearly a nod at Hackett. He seemed frustrated. Let Downing call plays. Michael says, I'm 62 years old. I'm pretty much done with this shit. I'm old. I'm too old to put up with the same old Jets every effing year. Hey, at least it's an early game, right? You got the rest of your Sunday to either enjoy watching other games or go do something else. That's what it feels like. Man, just brutal. Brutal. Ryan, the cherry on top, we lost to Zach and Sam. Yeah, look, we're going to lose to Geno too. There's no way we're beating the Seahawks with this roster right now. Not the way we're playing. It may not even matter by that point. It may not matter. Lazard dropped the touchdown pass right before the pick 6. Did he? I'd have to go back and watch. I don't remember what the play before was. Mr. Wrecked. Why is our offensive line so terrible? Every year it's the same thing. You put this line on any other team, they will be good. I don't understand it. They looked good through the first 3 weeks of the season. And then basically since last week and this week, they've been hot garbage. Rodgers didn't age like Tom Brady, that's for sure. Yeah, the Achilles, I think, is a tough one to come back from. And he's just getting cracked all the time. Brady gets the ball out fast. It doesn't feel like Rodgers is doing that right now. The reason we lost is because they pushed a 4th down in the first half. The reason they lost is because they pushed a 4th down in the first half. Yeah, I mean, I didn't think they should have went for it on 4th down when they did. It should have been 20-23 and play calling changes. A-Rod sat out a year and I expected a curve coming back. Yeah, look, it's slower, but man, play calling sucks. It really does. Let's see. Pluto, thank you so much for the super chat. This team has zero chemistry because Rodgers doesn't think he needs coaching. The whole team needs discipline and accountability, and we need to talk about Sauce. And Jefferson was frying him. There was a few pick plays that they did a really good job scheming Jefferson open. I thought they got a little ticky-tacky with some of the penalties on Sauce. Sauce is a very handsy player, but I thought this was this might be Sauce's worst game that we've seen as a Jet. And this is the worst game I've ever seen from Rodgers. I'm not feeling very good right now. Rodgers saying Rodgers needs to be coached or some accountability. I think it's true. I mean, honestly, after he got hurt, I wanted to see Tyrod in there, and it doesn't feel like Saleh has the balls to tell Rodgers that he's got to sit down. You're clearly not 100% right now. And I think at the very least, when you're down by that much, now granted, they made a game of it, could have won it at the end, but Rodgers does not look very good. J-Dubs, get rid of this staff. I've seen enough. I would have no problem if they decided to do that. I don't think you're going to see it. I think what will happen is you'll see Todd Downing take over play calling. That's what I would like to see first. If you have Downing take over play calling, maybe that sparks something in the offense. Maybe you make a trade for Devontae and that helps spark the offense. Whatever it is, I mean, to keep doing the same thing over and over again would be a mistake. Pump of Wall Street says, Sauce pretending to be hurt because he got burnt was pathetic. No, Sauce ran into his own player. That's what happened. And then he stayed down. It was the concussion protocol. I don't think that was. I don't think he was faking it there. Ryan, thank you for the super chat. Says the defense gave us a huge opportunity at the end, and of course we can't deliver. Can't ever count on the Jets' offense. Team needs to be coached better. They need more discipline. The penalties are driving me absolutely bonkers. The interior part of the offensive line has been Swiss cheese. I don't think AVT had a good game. I'm interested to see the all-22 and see if there's any anything we could take away from the interior here. John Simpson looked pretty rough today. But Rodgers does not look good. Rodgers does not look himself, and it feels like the lack of a running game is just preventing us from having any creativity on offense. Douglas, maybe all this time it was Zach who made Breece and Garrett look good. Who knew? Right? maybe we're coming back and bring back all the old quarterbacks that played for the Jets and just swap Rodgers out. That's clearly the problem. Right? Man, dude, we just can't get anything right. Just can't get anything right. I'm sick of this. I started taking notes. I took notes probably through like Rodgers getting hit. Pick 6 to Wilson was brutal. Forcing an interception to Lazard, brutal. I thought Gibson had a nice little move on the punt when he got, obviously the punt return was really nice before half when we got the touchdown. But in the second half, when we got the ball back, Gibson kind of stuck his leg out to cause that interference with the defense, got an extra 15 yards. Now, we didn't make anything of it. I don't believe we did. I think we ended up punting after that. But I thought that was a heads-up play. McNally, Jets Twitter going crazy. They can't blame Zach Wilson. It's funny to watch. No, look, hey, I have no problem blaming Rodgers. I think Rodgers did not look good today. I think Rodgers was the biggest reason we lost this game. Jose, what happened to playing Allen and Breece in the backfield together? I don't know. I don't know why we're not seeing that. That feels like such a dynamic backfield and like pressure on a defense. Why they're not doing it is ridiculous. Ricky, DJ Reed has been outplaying Sauce all year. He's way more technical. Sauce can't keep up with top-tier wide receiver without grabbing no good. I do think Reed has played much better in season than he did prior. I would say week 1 and then earlier, he looked rough. Like through the joint practices, through the little bit we saw from him, he was having a rough go of it early on. But Reed has played better than Sauce. Sauce has not had a good season this year. 5 years ago, Rodgers wins that game. Yeah, I hate to say like he feels toast, but he definitely doesn't feel like he's 100%. Boris, Sauce keeps getting exposed in my opinion this season. Yep, Sauce not having a good year. I feel like Reed keeps getting beat as well. I think early in the season it was tough. I think he has looked better, though. Sorless says, fire Saleh and promote Middleton to head coach. Let Ulbrich focus on the defense. Kid playing Madden could call better offense. Such a joke. I would have Downing call the offense. Let Hackett be the in-name offensive coordinator. Let Ulbrich stay as defensive coordinator. I do like Middleton as head coach. I don't know if the Jets are going to pull the trigger yet. I think they have to lose to Buffalo, and then they pull that plug. Pump of Wall Street says, at the end of the year, we need to hire Ben Johnson. Yeah, I mean, I'm watching this game, and it doesn't feel like Rodgers is going to be playing next year. Doesn't feel like it, at least. Gilbert Gonzalez, bring back Rex. Our coaching staff sucks. Rex was the fire. What the F? I love me some Rex. I don't want to see Rex in there. If we go with a new head coach, I do want it to be an offensive-minded young player. Young guy like a Ben Johnson. I would take Vrabel. Vrabel's the coach with coaching experience that I think has the discipline to maybe get this team a little bit more on track. Vrabel would be my choice if Ben Johnson is not available. Man, it's looking rough right now. It's looking rough. We're going to go over to the Robert Saleh and Aaron Rodgers pressers momentarily. As soon as they start, I will show that. Let me see. I might have the wrong one pulled up right now. All right. We've got the Robert Saleh presser, so I'm going to go over to that real quick, and then we will come back and see what's we'll discuss.
Let's see. The only one that didn't finish was Michael Carter. He dealt with a hammy.
Coach, what's your message to Jets fans who came into the season with so much hope regarding this offense and might be disappointed through these last couple of performances?
It's early. We're 5 games in. Obviously, we'd like it to be a lot better, but it's early and we've got a long way to go.
Robert,
Sick of hearing that answer.
First quarter, particularly from the offense,
Yeah, I'll credit Minnesota. They do a lot of different things. The interception, obviously, that was returned for a touchdown, kind of made it obviously a lot worse. But felt like from that point on, I felt like our offense kind of got its feet underneath it and started moving the ball pretty well. But obviously, putting ourselves in that hole wasn't good enough.
Robert, what was the thought process behind going for it on 4th down in the second quarter?
Fourth and 1. Feel like we got to be able to get those. We weren't moving the ball very well. We were down there trying to be aggressive to see if we can go get 7.
How would you assess Aaron's performance?
Obviously up and down. The biggest thing that we've got to be able to do, the biggest thing that we talked about going into this game was playing clean ball, and Minnesota had been feasting on pick sixes and putting their offense in position to get easy layups, and unfortunately that pick six was a big difference in the game.
He was hit 11 times, Robert. You guys have to do a better job protecting him.
Yeah, Minnesota has an exotic pressure system, and a couple of those losses were in one-on-one situations that we got to be better on. But obviously, we're always going to do our best to protect the quarterback.
Coach, obviously a disappointing result, but do you think there are a lot of positives to take, particularly from the defensive side?
You're always going to find silver linings. Not ready to talk about them now, but I do appreciate that our guys continue to battle and they fought. Gave ourselves a chance. We're right there with a chance to go score a touchdown at the end of the game to go win it, and unfortunately it didn't happen for us.
Second week in a row, Breece Hall has just had not been able to get anything going. What are some of the struggles with him and the running game?
Yeah, those are things we got to continue to work on. The run game's clearly not good enough. Felt like coming out of training camp it was going to be a strength for us, and it obviously hasn't been that way.
Did the score just take you out of the running game? I mean, I think it was 14 carries.
Well, their pressure system, they're pretty aggressive up front in the box, but towards the end we're down 2 scores going into that 4th quarter. It was time to step on it.
Was Aaron close to not returning?
No, he got up. When he got up, he said he was fine.
With Aaron, I think Garrett had like 22 targets or something like that. Was that a function of what they were doing, or was there a concerted effort to try to get him?
We go into every game trying to get Garrett the ball. He's our number 1 receiver, and every play is designed for him to be number 1 in progression. Felt like we just had more opportunities today to get it to him.
How did you feel about defense, and is Sauce okay?
Yeah, Sauce is fine. I thought defense was outstanding today. We chalk it up 13 points. I know they allowed 13 points to 7 on the pick 6, and then the 3 off of the field position that gave it to them basically in field goal range. But overall, I thought they battled, kept answering the bell. A couple of plays that I think they all want back with regards to a couple of opportunities to get a couple more takeaways, especially in the pass game. But overall, it was a good game from the defense.
What was your opinion on the penalties called on Sauce and Reed?
There was one on DJ that I thought was a legit penalty, but it was probably more illegal contact or holding, not a DPI. But the rest of them, I don't understand. We need clarification from the NFL officiating team.
Well, when did the Carter injury happen? It looked like he wasn't in almost from the beginning.
It actually happened in pregame.
Oh, good. Thanks, everyone. Aaron will be in here once he's dressed. The room's open.
All right, so that was the Robert Saleh presser. I have the Aaron Rodgers one ready to go when he does come back. So when Rodgers is ready to go, we'll skip over to that. We'll go to some call-ins after that. Let's see. Thomas comes in, says, was at the game not aggressive enough. When will things change? Yeah, I want to see blitzes. I want to see like Darnold actually get sacked more consistently. I feel like it took a while to get the sacks when we did get them. And then attacking on offense, it just feels like we're off. It feels like Rodgers isn't playing up to his normal standard. It feels like the running game is absolutely hamstringing us right now. Not being able to get anything going, like, having a 2nd and 6 or a 3rd and 2 would be very, very helpful right now. Boris, did the pass interference seem lopsided? We had more called on us. It definitely felt like we were getting hit with a lot of flags for sure. And, some of it legit. There was a few ticky-tacky ones. I didn't think the Reed one was a pass interference. The Sauce was getting picked on a little bit today. I feel like not his best game, but I'd have to go back and look at all of them to really see. Barney, can't take this negativity. Amazing near comeback. Look, it shouldn't have been in that position. Like the second half of this game, we put ourselves in a position to have this opportunity. But man, if we can't start off scoring some points early on in games, you can't spot them. What was it? Was it 17-point lead to start? I think it was 17 points to start, or at least 10 or 14 or whatever it was. It was not good. Not good. The power, everything changed when Moses went down. Yeah, look, Olu's having a little bit of a rough go of it right now. I didn't like what I saw last week, and there were some highlights from this week or I should say low lights from Olu this week, but I want to see the all 22 before I roast him. Boris, I hate the compliments other teams so much. It's being cordial. I hate the consistent thing we hear, like, oh, it's still early. It's week 5. The offense is going to get going. Dude, it's week 5. The offense has got to get going. I'm sick of this shit. Let's start seeing some scoring. Barney, Greg makes that kick last week, and Williams turns around this week, and we're 4-1. Calm down. I'm not done with the Jets. I'm done, but I'm done with the fans. Look, last week, if we had won that game on that kick, it still would have been a very bad game from our team. We would be feeling a lot better because good teams find a way to win those close games. But last week was a very bad game for the offense anyway. This week, I don't think this was so much a Williams not turning around as much as it was Aaron Rodgers not putting the ball where it should have been. I think the ball should have been higher. He's got a 6'5" frame, Mike Williams says. Why not utilize it? Let him go up and get the ball. That's a 70-30 ball. We talked about this all offseason long. Why not do it? Why not do it? Rodgers is just not getting the ball in the right spot. Knob says Saleh talks like he has no idea as to why they exactly lose games. He just repeats the same canned excuse every week. Someone over there needs to grow a pair and pull the plug on this guy's tenure. I think him saying like, oh, the pick 6 hurt us, put us in a rough situation, saying that the turnover on field position in our territory was another big issue, obviously implying that this game is on Rodgers. He didn't say it. He didn't come out right and say it, but that is very much what that press conference felt like. And as a fan, I feel like this game was on Rodgers. Rodgers does not look like he is the guy we were sold. He does not look like the guy we saw like through parts of the beginning part of the season where like you could at least see like, okay, he looks kind of sharp. Like this is it. He's shaking some of the rest off. This didn't feel like it. This felt like a slow, maybe injured from last week. Maybe the knees are acting up on him. He seems clunky right now. Maybe he's not getting the ball out the way he wants to. Maybe he can't press off that back foot if he's got something going on with the knees or the hamstring or whatever, but it does not feel good right now. All right, we're going to go back to these super chats. I just want to go over to the Rodgers presser because that is starting right now. Let's see what Rodgers has to say. Come on.
Aaron, the last time you were here in 2022 was with the Packers, and since then you've been through a lot of change with the injury, with the move to New York. How does the Aaron Rodgers of today differ to the Aaron Rodgers of 2022 when dealing with a loss like this?
I mean, they all hurt. Just got to be, honest with your performance every single week and hold yourself to a standard. obviously that was below my standard. I just found out I've never thrown 2 picks in the first quarter before, so that's a first. One of us cost obviously 7, and the other, could cost 3. So in a game where you lose by 6, plays like that are exponentially highlighted. So 3 turnovers for me is definitely out of character, and I'm disappointed.
Aaron, what happened on that last interception?
I just kind of underthrew a little bit.
Aaron, how do you explain this between the first half and the second half? You got into a bit of a groove with your receivers.
Well, I mean, I think we had a lot of 3 and outs to start. They kind of got in their zero package, and 3rd and long is tough to convert. Tough to be on the same page sometimes protection-wise because they can do everything out of that. I felt like we changed the tempo a little bit. That kind of got us playing downhill a little bit, and we're getting the ball out a little bit quicker.
How are you physically?
Is that your question too? I'm definitely banged up. I got my foot caught on a pile there. But just seems to be a low ankle sprain. Again, they were trying to get me in the tent, and we had a roughing the kicker, and I said, screw it, I'm going back out there.
You were clutching your knee too, or at least it looked like you were clutching the back of the leg at that point too.
There was a lot of things that made some noises on the way down.
Could you, other than
It's true. Sorry, Rich, go ahead.
on the 𝐂𝐻𝐿, the pick 6,
Yeah.
could you describe what happened?
They had a 7-up presentation, and we got to something that we talked about, and I peeked the backside or something to the left to see if we were hot or not, and in doing that, I totally lost sight of 𝐂𝐻𝐿, and he made a nice play.
And I think you guys had 14 total rushes today. What do you guys have to do to kind of just get that running game going and maybe spark something with the offense there?
I mean, we got to figure out exactly what our best runs are based on the first 5 games now. And, we've tried to establish a run in most of these games early. And sometimes you got to switch it up and maybe throw it to establish the run.
Why do you think you guys have struggled handling the blitz these last 2 weeks?
I've probably had 2 on me that I should have handled better. A lot of the stuff we've seen, it's just stuff that we walk through, single pressure, replacement stuff. So we'll be real critical as we look at the film. But in general, I gotta play to the standard I know I'm capable of playing, and the rest of that stuff takes care of itself.
How do you explain the slow starts? I think last week you guys had only 1 first down in the first quarter, and then today I don't think you're at any. And how hard is that to overcome?
Yeah, it puts our defense in the hole. They played great. They gave up 16 points to that offense. It's been ripping everybody up without Sauce for a decent part of the game, without MC. So credit to Brick and those boys over there. I mean, my guy B.E. came up with another big-time pick that we turned into points. So they kept us in the game, and we, kind of did just enough. But we need to be playing from the lead. So we got to start faster. We say it every week. What's the magic recipe for that? We're going to go spend some time this week trying to figure that out.
Aaron, despite the loss, obviously Garrett Wilson had 13 catches, good rapport with 𝐂𝐿𝐻𝐿. I think you take the pick 6 away, there was still some positives offensively.
Yeah, you can't take it away though.
No. You've got the Bills next though and the Steelers, so what I'm getting at is, obviously they're 2 good teams in good form. What can you take from are there any positives you can take going into those games from today?
I think there's always positives to take. It's good to get G involved. Moved him around a lot, gave him a lot of different routes. And could have had even some bigger ones. He slipped on the one that could have been a touchdown. He slipped on the in break that could have been a big one out the back. So the field, there was some conversation around the slipperiness of the field, but shoot, both teams are playing on it. We got to handle that. But the most important positive to take with us is if we stick together, because there'll be a lot of people outside the building who won't be sticking with the Jets. So we stick together. I still have a lot of confidence in this team. I think it's a team that's going to make a run. Now, whether that run starts next week, the following week, or whenever it might be, confident in our guys. I'm confident in leadership, and confident we'll get this thing straightened out.
Aaron, how would you assess where the offense is through 5 games?
Playing below our potential. Too many mistakes. I thought until now, I think we've only had 2 turnovers, which was good because you give yourselves a chance. But we're slow starters. We're, too many mental errors, and just too many mistakes in general. That's hard to overcome. And then, for me, I got to take care of the football. You can't turn the ball over 3 times and win in this league.
Couple more. Is being without Morgan Moses something with your friends?
I mean, I don't want to say we don't miss Morgan. He's a fantastic player, and his personality is so infectious for us. I'll have to look at the film, but I have a lot of confidence in Olu playing right side or left side at any point this season. The more reps he gets, the more comfortable he's going to be. We got to help him out from time to time, but you'd like to help it, any tackle out. But I know Morgan, he's a tough dude, and I would guess he's going to try and play this next week.
Aaron, before the game, I spoke to Minnesota Vikings legend 𝐀𝐟𝐼𝐥𝐢𝐷. He said the most intimidating thing about playing the New York Jets is Aaron Rodgers. So I wondered, what's it like for you to get respect from a legend like this and be the sort of person that puts fear into them?
Well, I've had a lot of wins over the years against the Vikings, so they know me well. Now, it's not the same record that, maybe in Chicago. They probably hate me a little worse. But there's been some great battles over the years. I saw another legend that I played against, Jared Allen. First time I played against him, he sacked me 5 times. A couple of those times, I didn't have a chance. It was so damn loud, the old Metrodome. So I've enjoyed the battles over the years. Unless we both get to the Super Bowl, the way the schedule is laid out, I'm not sure there's going to be another one. So it's been good battles over the years. I have a lot of respect for that team. Some of those guys, I guess there's less now, but Harrison Smith, I played against him since his rookie year in 2012, I believe. A lot of respect for him. A lot of great battles over the years, and thankful for the rivalry, although it's not as big of a rivalry as Green Bay, Chicago.
Oh, good. Thanks, everyone.
All right, in terms of the surface, you said you guys said it was slippery. How did you find it?
I don't run as fast as those guys, so it wasn't slippery for me.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
All right, so quick takeaway from that. I think Rodgers knows the offense is slow. I think he realizes that we need to pass to open up the run. That's something we've been saying for the last 2 weeks, ever since, what was it, the Titans game? Like, hey, let's figure out a way. The running game's not really getting going. Let's get some opportunities here. Quick passes, open up some running lanes, and then run off that. I think that's the play. Maybe not having Morgan Moses is a big enough detriment to this run game that's, hamstringing us. I don't know. But very, very frustrating. I think Rodgers with the hey, get the play call in, let's go. To Hackett, I think is telling. I think Downing should take over play calling to see if they could spark anything. 2 and 4 is not going to cut it in this league. Not if you want to have a good season. Matt comes in. Tough day for Rodgers. Feels like run blocking is non-existent. Happy with how the team fought. Some of those penalties were fucking atrocious. Yeah, I agree. I'm happy the team fought back. I think the defense gave us opportunities. The offense has been the consistent side letting us down since week 2. Week 1 was obviously, a little bit of both sides there, but I think the defense has held its own the rest of the way. Boris, I think we need to make starters play in the preseason. They should be warmed up by now. Nicholas, they're not a playoff team, and an Adams trade is not going to fix a coaching staff that has the team flat every first half consistently. It's reality. I agree. I don't think Davante Adams from a player standpoint necessarily improves the Jets better than, having a stronger offensive line or getting pressure on the quarterback on the defensive side. I do think that a GM and a head coach in the final years of their contract where they're panicking might need to help try to motivate this team because they clearly cannot self-motivate. I think that's why you might see a Davante Adams trade now. I don't know the answer because they got to score quicker. They're coming out too flat, too consistently. Brandon, thank you for the super chat. Says, look, I'm upset about the loss, but the refs were abysmal. I try not to make it about them, but those pass interference calls were awful. yeah, I mean, we had opportunities. Whether it's Garrett slipping, whether it's Aaron throwing interceptions, like we had opportunities to take the refs out of the game and we couldn't do it. We couldn't do it. Don't put yourself in a position where you are impacted so drastically by the refs. This team has far too much talent to have that. Hype. This game wasn't on coaching. He's either old or hurt. I agree, Hype. I think this game was squarely on Rodgers and the running game, or lack thereof a running game, and lack thereof Rodgers playing to the standard we signed up for. Watching him play right now and where this season is potentially going, if it starts to spiral, I don't know if Rodgers is here next year, and I think it might just be a clean reset. But we've got an opportunity to turn it around. Hopefully the Bills lose to the Texans today, and it minimizes some of the sting of these last 2 weeks. This was a good Vikings team, and the Jets defense held their own against the hot Vikings offense. There are some positives to take away from this. But man, it's frustrating. Darrell, pass to establish the run, not run to establish the pass. I completely agree, Darrell. I think you have to be able to open up some lanes for the running game because this is just unacceptable. Rob V, 3 huge Lazard drops, one for a touchdown, one that would have had us at the 20 and another that would have had us at the 5. Lazard is, oh man, so on the season, I would say Lazard has been our best offensive player and our worst offensive player in the same breath. Very frustrating from like a drop perspective. He dropped the first down like on the first third down of the game against San Francisco. He had at least 2 or 3 drops today. I'd have to go back and see the one interception that went over Lazard's head. I don't know if he had an opportunity to like try and grab it or if it was just too high above his head. But either way, Lazard not carrying his weight the way I had hoped to see after a relatively strong start to the season with him. DJ says Lazard got to go for Adams ASAP. It's probably not a bad move. At least Devontae catches those balls. I don't know how much you're going to have to give up and how much you got Rodgers right now. Do you think you can win a Super Bowl with Rodgers? It's hard to like look at how he's performed right now and feel that way, but you just got to hope he gets, moving in the right direction. Mike says Keith Carter has to be fired. I don't know. I thought the O-line looked good early in the season, and the last 2 weeks has been really, really bad. The run game, for whatever reason, just can't figure it out. Nick says Wilson was the only wide receiver that was really reliable. Why are you throwing that last pass? Was ridiculous. Well, I like going to Mike Williams. Mike Williams has consistently been pretty good. I don't think that ball was where it needed to be. I don't think it was Williams not getting inside leverage. I think that's Rodgers not placing it where it needs to be. It needs to be higher. It needs to give him a shot. Let that 6'5" receiver go up and get the ball, and that has not, for whatever reasons, he's consistently off his mark there. Ryan says, not panicking yet. Big game with Bills next week. We must win that one. Vikings are having a year, and we are contenders. Slow starts have to stop. You got to win versus Buffalo. You've put yourself in this position now. I said you have to win 2 of 3 for Saleh to keep his job. I'm sticking to it. If the Jets lose to Buffalo or if the Jets beat Buffalo and lose to the Steelers the following week, I think you got to make a change. But you can't look forward. You got to look at Buffalo right now, and you have to be able to get a victory. You cannot allow Buffalo to get another game up on us, especially if they wind up beating the Texans today. Tom says the team looks defeated. It didn't seem like they really wanted to win deep down, and that's on coaching. I don't think we're motivating players at all. I completely agree. Jay, why don't we have wide receivers running seam routes uncontested? Darnold is still pathetic. We should have been blitzing him all game, doubling Jefferson. Ghost man would have returned. I don't know why we don't put pressure on Darnold. I mean, is it that big of a loss having JJ and like no Hassan Reddick and stuff? They are. Those are key players not having on the field. But like you got to manufacture pressure. You have to be able to get some pressure on the quarterback because they're just going to sit back there and pick you apart. It felt like Sam had all day to throw. I want to see what the time to throw was on Sam today because that was ugly. Ugly. Soft talker, Rodgers 40 years old. You are a fool if you expect him to carry the offense. He has no help. Yeah, we didn't build this offense to carry Rodgers. We brought in Rodgers to distribute on this offense. and to at least not cause all the turnovers. Zach Wilson could have had 3 turnovers in this game. Like, this was a very Zach-esque game. Hennessy says, slow starts kill us every week. Yeah, right. Can we get Adam Gase back for the first 15 plays? I'll take the first 15 plays of Gase, and then we'll sub him out. Because we just cannot start fast. Cannot start fast. Adams has dropped a ton of easy catches this year. You guys are thinking Adams of yesteryear, time to wake up. Yeah, look, we're just hoping for a spark at this point. You get Devontae in here, maybe that sparks something. But, man, it's... With each loss, the realistic difference that a Devontae Adams trade would make is minimal. And I wouldn't want to give away assets if you can't find a way to win. I feel like you gotta make a difference here. Rodgers is the Titanic. The ship is sinking. Think about the future, not today. Man, it's hard not to. I keep having this hope that we just got to hey, let's just see what we can do with Rodgers. Go all in the 1 year. If it doesn't work out this year and the Jets don't make the playoffs, he's gone, Saleh's gone, we're going to reset anyway. I don't think you're giving up a first. I think those high assets that you would use to potentially draft a future quarterback or do whatever you got to do, I don't think those are on the table for the Jets to trade away. I don't think Adams is going to cost that much to do, and I would make the move. James, coaching is a problem too. Yes, they are. Wouldn't even a subpar coaching staff wins this game by 2+ scores? Man, so I'm kind of over the coaching staff, but it's hard not to put this game entirely on the players, unless you're saying that the coaching staff didn't motivate, and this is what we're getting. So if you can motivate players, sure, why not? But it doesn't feel like that's what we're doing right now. Ed, finally beginning to convince myself that Rodgers is done, and I think he knows it. We haven't a hope of beating the Bills and the Steelers. Yeah, look, this team doesn't look ready to compete at all. And if this team doesn't look ready to compete now, is Rodgers going to look that much better towards the tail end of the season after taking more consistent hits and things like that? I have a hard time seeing Rodgers wanting to play a second season based on his level of play right now and the Jets' level of play. So this is sad for the Jets. Very, very lackluster. Lackluster is the only way I can do it, or only way I could say it. Hulk, can't blame Saleh. A defensive coach need a brilliant offensive coordinator. I think you can blame him for the lack of enthusiasm from the team. They look unprepared, both offense and just overall. It's not good. Enzo, I see the $2 super chat in there. I appreciate it. I do not see a comment listed, so if I see something, I'll throw it on screen, but I appreciate it nonetheless. KH, Breece Hall looks like an 80-year-old. No burst. What's happened to him? I don't know. Breece looks terrible right now. The running game in general is bad, but Breece does not look very good. And Rodgers is just missing dudes in the flat. He's missing dudes left and right. This does not look like Rodgers at all. At all. This is very, very clunky looking. Enzo, thank you for the super chat. Braylon Allen should be starting and getting more reps than Breece. He looks putrid and goes down after first contact. Also, can't catch crap. I think Braylon also had a drop, if I'm not mistaken. But either way, I agree. I think Braylon has been the better running back on the season. I think the two of them should probably be on the field consistently, because I do think that those two running backs, plus Mike Williams, plus Conklin, plus Wilson, is the 5 best weapons to get on the field. Lazard, while there's a connection with Rodgers, should get swapped in for Conklin occasionally when needed, but I would put both running backs on the field. I think that would be critically important to see for us. I think that at least gets us going a little bit. Rob V, AVT was horrendous today. The whole O-line blows. Yeah, I don't think AVT looks very good. I've been saying that for the last few weeks now, and he does not look good. I think the Achilles hurt him a lot. Jay, Breece ran better last year behind a makeshift practice squad O-line than this O-line. Where's the accountability? AVT was awful. All the pressure between the tackles. Yeah, the interior part of this offensive line is hot garbage. big semi-loss of McGovern getting snatched off the practice squad, signing with the Saints. Could have at least given you some option on the interior part of that offensive line, whether that's swapping out, John Simpson or something. Simpson got cooked on one of the sacks of Rodgers, like just immediately blown off the line. That interior part, really the whole offensive line, from a run blocking perspective, we don't have the nasty, and from a picking up stunts doesn't look very good either. My Holy King says Sauce Gardner is not as good as you think. I don't think Sauce has looked great this year. I don't think he's bad, but I don't think he's looked good either. Fatigue. Rodgers sounded like this was his last time playing Minnesota, so that means he won't be here in 2 years if we think he realizes the nuance of what he said. Look, I think he knows that, because we'd have to get to a Super Bowl to play them again this season, but I think we'd also have to get to a Super Bowl next year to play them next season. I don't think the Vikings would be on our slate of schedule next year, even if he wanted to play 2 years. I don't think he was planning to be 3 years, this year plus 2 more. I don't think that was in the cards. Masculine Visionary. Shake my head. Maybe getting Rodgers was a mistake. He has too much say in what's going on the offense. It seems to be hurting the team. You can't be talking about a Super Bowl with Hackett as our offensive coordinator. Look, I don't think getting Rodgers was a mistake. I think that was the right play. I think you can't, imagine he's going to have an Achilles last year. You figure the offense would have started to take a step forward. You fixed the offensive line seemingly in the offseason, or at least got better pieces than we've had the last few years. If you look back and you say, hey, getting Rodgers was the wrong decision, maybe getting Derek Carr was a better one. I don't know if I would have agreed with that. In the hindsight of knowing the Achilles injury and seeing where Rodgers is right now, I could understand that feeling. Rodgers clearly does not look up to snuff right now. Air Rosie, thank you for the super chat, says, no sense of urgency. Saleh's press conference all day for Darnold to throw, run blocking, switched from zone to gap blocking. Do you think Brees is a better zone runner? Need to protect Rodgers? Yeah, I mean, it seems like Brees is a better zone running back at this point. He has not looked good this entire season. That's really the only thing that's changed. I mean, the players sure have changed on the offensive line, but I think we've gotten better from an offensive line skill set. So you would have thought you'd see a better Brees. Now, I don't think you can switch your blocking scheme mid-season at this point and just hope to go, after spending 5 weeks in the offseason developing it a certain way, to have to switch it up right now would be very, very hard with a team that has not practiced it. Now, is there another way to utilize Brees? Like maybe Braylon should be the running back and Brees should just be flexed out as a receiver more consistently. Maybe that's a little bit better of a play. Mark, can't lie, y'all have true lockdown secondary, although they pull way too much. Y'all messed up my fantasy leagues this week. Good game from a Vikings fan, Mark. Dude, you guys are a good team. I think our defense took you guys to your limits as best we could. That pick six really did change this game dramatically for us. You guys are going to be a good team. You guys are going to be there late in the season. I do like seeing Sam Darnold play better with you. I think you're going to have the ability to keep him there the next year or two while JJ recovers from his injury and learns. But look, Jets got to start out a little bit hotter and allowed the Vikings to kind of have their way with us. Boris, can we try using Tyrod next week? Honestly, I feel like a mobile quarterback would do this team and this offense a lot of good. I don't know what you'd have to do. Like it would have to be a last second Rodgers isn't playing type scenario, I think. Obviously you don't want to have Rodgers get hurt. See how he feels flying back. I still think Rodgers should give us the best chance to win. If you have to rely on Tyrod Taylor to start winning you games, this season's probably lost. But you did bring in Tyrod to have the opportunity to give Rodgers, a game off if Rodgers is hurt. And if Rodgers is banged up right now and he can't get the power, maybe it is worth throwing Tyrod in for a season. But you got to get this win versus Buffalo. It's so critically important. If Rodgers can go, I feel like you got to prefer him in there. Dr. Cornelius, I think our issue is cold footballs. We need to start slapping ball boys. We'll try anything twice. Joe S., it's not the quarterback, it's Saleh. I mean, motivation-wise, this team does come out flat. So if you want to make that determination and say, hey, we're pulling the plug, switching it, you're not going to hear me upset about it. But I do think this was more on Rodgers than it was on Saleh personally. Pierce, the only thing keeping me sane is that we're only 2-3. Like you said, Ryan, it's week 5. Time to turn it on and go on a run. Yeah, I mean, we got lucky Buffalo losing to the Ravens last week. I think that keeps things a little closer. If they can lose to the Texans, then we set ourselves up in a situation where next week is for the division, at least early on. If they win versus the Texans and we lose next week versus Buffalo, that's going to put us in a really, really tough hole. The AFC being a little clunkier this year is playing to our slow start, I guess. But man, I just don't have a whole lot of excitement. Boris, even if it's 1 week, let Rodgers rest. I don't know. Do you do it versus Buffalo? Does that give you some hope that, like, if the offense starts going and Rodgers is, like, you know, banged up, you could be like, okay, well, Rodgers has a week off. He'll come back versus the Steelers. I'm not opposed to the resting of Rodgers, but I don't think Saleh has the stones to do that, and I think that you're going to see Rodgers dictate if he plays or not, which I don't know. Maybe you say he's earned that much in this league. Vincent, Ryan, all is not lost. A Bills lost today. Jets win next week. And guess what? You're back in the division race, despite what these past 2 lackluster weeks were. Enjoy your podcast as always. Go Jets. Vincent, you and I are on the same wavelength. I think I just got that out of my mouth as your chat came in. So very much on the same wavelength. Houston's kicking Buffalo's ass right now. What is the score? I got to look it up. 14-3. All right, so look, it's giving you a little bit of hope. Inaj, is it time to find a new offensive coordinator or play caller? Yeah, Todd Downing should be calling plays. I don't want to see Hackett call plays anymore. I think before you swap any coaches out, moving play calling responsibility to Downing is the correct move. Try to spark something here. Antonio, Rodgers is a true Iron Man for finishing that game. Yeah, I didn't think he was coming back in. He doesn't look 100%, though, I'll say that. Joe S., last year we quickly blamed Zach. Now we're blaming Rodgers. When are fans going to realize the common denominator is Saleh? Look, I do think Saleh is absolutely to blame, but Saleh didn't throw those interceptions. So I have to put the blame on the players with the ball in their hand. I don't think the play calls were necessarily bad as much as it was, a slow start overall. I thought Lazard catching some passes would have made this go a little bit better. Rodgers' 3 interceptions and the pick 6 was by far the most detrimental part to this game, and I don't know how you could really argue otherwise. Defense came to play. Offense did not. Pablo, Vikings D has done this to quarterbacks all along, and the Jets were still right there at the end. If they take the 3 points in the first half, it's 23-20 there at the end. Yeah, look, I didn't agree with them going for the 4th down play. I didn't think that was a smart move. Bonnie, I wanted Tyrod to come in when A-Rod got hurt, even for one series for some potential spark. I said the same thing. I was watching it with my neighbor, and I was like, you know what? Rodgers being knocked out for at least a little bit to give him a rest and see what Tyrod could do, put a little stress on the defense, might not be the worst. But yeah, if Rodgers is healthy, I'd be hard-pressed to see them go a different route here. Wooden, Mike Williams was literally hugged 15 yards down the field, but regardless, this dog shit team has no business winning this. Yeah, look, we're not going to get any calls. We're not going to get calls. 30-year Jets fan, you can't bench Rodgers for Buffalo. I agree. I think he has to be hurt in order to not play. Big Zeus, I've been trying to call in for the longest time. Yeah, I want to get through some chat stuff. I'll go to some calls momentarily, but I want to get through some of this. Pierre, something is definitely off, though. There's no juice seeing from Rodgers or Saleh. Didn't even see Quincy uppercut. Quincy gave up that long pass, too, on 3rd down when Mullins came in to Adams. Remember, they lost their running back partway through this game, so they were not at 100% either. Ruben, do you really think one player is going to change this team's outcome? Coaching is horrendous. Yeah, look, coaching's got to get better. It's gotta be able to, I think Lazard and Rodgers were the two biggest detriments today. Sauce on the defensive side had himself a lackluster game as well. But motivation seems to be a consistent issue with this team. Greg saying Hackett not getting the play in quick enough is killing Rodgers' pre-snap adjustments. You got Rodgers for his arm and brain. We're taking half of that away. Yeah, and his arm's already like losing a little bit of zip from just being older in general. I think you got to swap the play caller. I would put Downing in as the play caller right now. Oreo says, I'm glad that Garrett finally had a good game. Hopefully that is the spark he needed to get himself going. If so, watch out NFL. He can have an impact that Jefferson, Hill, Chase have. Garrett is untradeable. I don't want to see Garrett go anywhere. Hopefully it's starting to trend in the right direction for Garrett, but we need the rest of the team to pick up their fucking pace. All right, real quick before we get into the rest of this, let's see if I got this pulled up. I may not have queued it up correctly. I did not. All right, give me 1 second here. All right. Davante Adams. Get back to the solo screen. Do a little bit of this on the fly here. All right. Boys and girls, this stream is brought to you by BetUS. Davante Adams rumors. Is he going to wind up coming to the Jets? Odds over on BetUS. Minus 200 for the Jets, plus 400 for the Chiefs, plus 450 for the Ravens, plus 500 for the Bills. Those odds will start to shift as teams win and lose games. Obviously, the Jets are not in a very good position right now and may need to spark a little bit of something special. Does Davante Adams come over here? Head over to BetUS to place your wagers on that. If you do, you get up to 150% bonus match on your first deposit, up to $2,000 with code YouTube150. Again, thank you, BetUS, for sponsoring the show. All right, let's go through some more comments here, and then we'll go over to your calls. Oreo, I love you, Ryan. Just enjoy teasing you about Garrett Wilson. That's all right. Hey, look, you know what? Me talking about it in a more, what feels like a safe space, talking about it with you guys, saying like, hey, you know what? That could be a potential thing they talk about at the trade deadline. And then having Wingo talk about it, and then having, NBC Sports talk about it. Like other people were talking about it, not just me. I just beat everyone to the punch. That's what it was. But he can't go anywhere. You obviously, him figuring it all out with Rodgers is part of the solution. All right, let's go through a few phone calls. I want to hear what the fan base is feeling, how you guys are thinking now. So I've got Zeus on the line. Zeus will be joining us momentarily. Boris, thank you for the super chat. I wouldn't mind a few more passes being made to Conklin. He's been playing well so far. I do think Conklin's been our best receiver overall on the season so far. I would like to see more opportunities for him to go up and down the seam. I think that he has been reliable, to say the least. Man, that one almost touchdown would have been it was a terrible throw by Rodgers. At the same time, also hitting Conklin in the hands, and the safety was able to get his hand in there. But man, I do very much like Conklin. No celebration shows Saleh warned team just play. I mean, I hope so, right? Like there was definitely no celebration on the touchdowns, but there was very much a celebration on the interception that I didn't really appreciate. I think the same thing with Leonard Taylor might have had a sack on Sam, kind of doing a little bit of a dance there. It's like, dude, when we're down by that much, I just want to see you play ball and get us back into it. I don't want to. I'm all for the theatrics. I like the theatrics, but I just don't like seeing it when we're getting our shit pushed in. All right. Let's go over to Zeus. Zeus, how you doing?
How you doing, brother? Can you hear me?
I got you loud and clear.
First and foremost, Ryan, I just want to say I've been a silent supporter of yours for a long time. This is my first time calling in, so I want to say appreciate everything you do. You normally do a pretty great job.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate the call in, too. I appreciate your patience. I saw you calling in. I just wanted to get through some of the chat stuff first. But yeah, what's on your mind? What'd you think of this game?
Yeah, man. First and foremost, before I get going, can I be frank with you?
Sure.
Yeah, man. You normally give out some great stuff, but I think today some of the things you said was slightly egregious.
Ooh, like what?
Okay, one of the things you said is you said on the play from Rodgers to Williams, it doesn't matter if Williams gets his back turned because Rodgers got to put the ball in the right place. I'm gonna say this: it don't matter if Rodgers hit him in the back of the head if he doesn't turn around to catch the ball. See,
So I agree with that. I think the ball should have been higher. I think even if Williams got his head around, Gilmore still caught that on the ground. Like that wasn't going to be an accurate pass regardless.
I see that, but I've seen Rodgers make. See, I've been a fan of Rodgers because I'm a Green Bay Packer fan first and foremost. I've been a fan of Rodgers a lot longer than most Jets fans. Most
Sure.
Jets fans went their whole life without watching Rodgers play. That is a scoop off the ground to Devontae Adams 10 times out of 10. I've seen it happen a million times. Look, Rodgers throws the ball where nobody else can get it, and he throws it to where only the receiver can get it. The same way that the defender caught the ball, the receiver could have caught the ball if they was in sync.
So do you think the Jets should go make the trade for Devontae? Do you want to see the Jets make the trade for Devontae?
Absolutely. They got to trade for Devontae, but Rodgers played poorly today. I would say that. But
he did. Zeus, thank you so much for the call. You've been ejected from the cockpit. Zeus, I really appreciate the call. If you got more to say, feel free to call back in. I'm just going to hammer through some calls, so everyone's going to get the 2-minute timer, and Ryan's going to be ruthless today. Sticking to the 2-minute timer. I did want to hear more of that, though, so Zeus, feel free to call back in. We got Joe calling in. Joe, how you feeling, dude?
Hey, Ryan. All I'm just going to have to say is pathetic loss. I'm going to just say this, just to say it. Aaron Rodgers is playing injured, and it's starting to look very much similar to how Brett Favre was in 2008. And that's not good. He looks very old, honestly. The offense is just slow coming out of the gate. I do appreciate the defense shutting down the Vikings the way they did in the second half, but it's just that this offense just can't get in kilter. I feel like if they lose 2 more games, they're going to have to make a move, whether that be demoting Hackett or firing him. They have to make a move because it's starting to get very unacceptable with the execution, honestly.
I agree. I want to see Downing call the plays. We got to see Downing call plays in the green and white scrimmage, so I think right now I would like to see Downing get shifted over because I don't think they're going to fire Hackett because of his relationship with Rodgers, and I think removing the play calling responsibility at least is holding someone accountable right now, and maybe that creates a spark.
Yeah, no, I think it would pay huge dividends at least to give someone new to a chance of play calling. And by the way, there was a camera, I believe, a camera shot of Rodgers being completely frustrated with the play calling. There was a lip read saying,
he's like,
after like a run play, he's like, why the F are we running the football? So he's clearly getting impatient with Hackett. So hopefully something happens there. As I'm saying this, the Bills are losing, so maybe the Bills might have a get-right game, maybe. I don't know, but the Bills look like crap against the Texans, but hopefully Monday night they get it together, honestly.
We got to see something. I mean, the Bills dropping last week's game to the Ravens kind of bailed out the Jets' loss to the Broncos, and then if they can drop this one to the Texans, it would just be an absolute gift, if I do say so myself. So, Joe, thank you so much for the call. You've been ejected from the cockpit. Let's see. I've got Chris from Florida, Mike, then Noah, and then I see Zeus calling back in, so I'm going to go in that order. Let's go over to Chris from Florida. Chris, how you doing, dude?
Hey, what's going on, Ryan? Rough game. Definitely had me hyped up for a little bit. Almost gave me some hope. And then, of course, that final play just, I don't know, man. There was just so many problems with this game. The way it started off, I was ready to turn the TV off and be like, I'm not about to start my Sunday with a blowout game. But still, like, I don't know, man. Could we ever see a situation where when we change our coaching, could we see Robert Saleh go, but we keep Jeff Ulbrich as a defensive coordinator?
I think you could definitely see if Saleh goes. I think what's going to happen first is you'll see Todd Downing take over play calling responsibility before Saleh gets fired. If that still doesn't work and the team comes out flat, then I think you'll see Saleh get fired, and I think you'll see Middleton become head coach with Ulbrich being the defensive coordinator, and Hackett or Downing or whatever being the in-name offensive coordinator. Or are you talking about at the end of the season? Like, would
End
Ulbrich
of the
stay
season.
after the
Definitely
season?
end of the season, because I don't see the Jets firing Saleh mid-season. I see them firing him like definitely at the end of the season, because I feel like they just still carry a little bit of respect for Saleh, considering how he's managed himself and the team and everyone. Yeah, I don't know. He was meant to be a manager, and I'm not seeing it clearly. Clearly, we hired an offensive coordinator that we thought would just make Rodgers happy, which I was all for as well. But if it's not working, if Hackett can't come up with better plays or at least get the offensive players to connect, it shouldn't take this long for Garrett Wilson to be connected with Aaron Rodgers. But we'll see how it goes.
Fingers crossed. I mean, in the event of an end of season type firing or allowing to leave of Saleh, I think you could keep Ulbrich as D coordinator. I think you would probably have a situation where you say, hey, Vrabel, come on in. We'll give you autonomy to do what you want. I don't think you force someone to keep Ulbrich if they didn't want him. I really like him. I'd like to see Ulbrich get an opportunity to at least interview for the job if that's what happens. Chris from Florida, you've been ejected from the cockpit. Thank you, as always, for calling in. We've got Mike on the line. Let's head over to Mike, see what Mike has to say.
Good morning, Ryan. Nothing like tuning into a 9:30 game just to be fucking pissed off. Sorry. If we're talking about changing your coach, your offensive coordinator, your play calling, you're a contender. Start talking about playoffs. If you talk, when they ever go, oh, Bill Belichick, we gotta fire his ass. He's terrible. Never. Stop talking playoffs. We're 2-3. Oh, the Bills lose to the Ravens and the fucking Houston Texans. Oh, 2 other AFC contenders. We can catch them. We lost to Denver. We lost to the Vikings. We're 5-0. We are losing. We are 2-3. We're closer to being 1-4. Thanks, Will Levis. But what are we doing here? Braylon Island, please hold. It worked one game, never do it again. We're scared of success. Oh, 3rd and longs, where we love those, but we're allergic to first downs. We have a first down in the first quarter. Slow starts, we're dead. We are dead. This team is garbage. And everyone's trying to spin this like we almost came back and won. When the defense, they did it against Denver with the Cortland Sutton touchdown. When you need the defense the most, when they need that 4th quarter drive to not end in a field goal, they give up the field goal. So that goes from 20-17 to 23. It's the little things that they don't take accountability for. Al Lazard, dude, you're 6'4" and your arms are like T-Rex arms. They're just shriveled up. You couldn't caught that pass over your head. I truly believe that, or at least try to make it look like you could have. I can't stand this team and accountability. And Robert Saleh, they had a really exotic defense. We had the most vanilla offense. No wonder they're going to look exotic to us. This team is just so dysfunctional. And if you're talking about firing the coach, you're talking about firing the Hackett or moving him. I don't think Saleh gets fired. Unfortunately, I don't think we're too dysfunctional to do that right. So I think they're going to keep trying to make this work, stuff it in, and they're just going to end up being a miserable mess. I can't.
Boom, Mike, you've been ejected from the cockpit. Making some good points there. Making some good points. We've got Zeus and then Joe on the line. Let's go over to Zeus. Zeus, how you doing?
I'm all right, man. Yeah, I might be calling in a lot today because I got a lot to say.
That's all right.
2 minutes isn't as much time as I need. But what I will say is, yes, Rodgers did play poorly today. But for all of us NFL fans, we watch. So far this season, Mahomes has played trash, yet they undefeated. As a Packers fan, I watched Jordan Love do a lot of bullshit, play horribly, and they still win games. That's because they have Andy Reid, Matt LaFleur. Matt Stafford could play poorly and they win games. The whole thing is, if we take the points, when Rodgers threw that last interception, were we not in field goal position?
Oh, yeah, we were. I mean, you could have at
When the
least gone
Vikings
to
got
overtime
the
at
ball
that point.
back, exactly. They got the ball back, 30 seconds left. We go to overtime if we kick a field goal. That changes all of the plays. That changes everything. The Vikings are reeling. The Vikings are reeling if it's 2020.
Yeah. I mean, at that point, you just have I think coaching staff has to be better. I think coming out flat is an absolutely huge concern. I think Rodgers forcing the ball, maybe trying to overcompensate from maybe a lack of enthusiasm or something on the field. I don't know. He looks
he was pressing,
slower.
which is something you normally won't see from Rodgers. He was pressing, but you gotta understand the insurmountable pressure that's on him. He is the key holder to everybody's jobs, financial security, and everything.
Yep.
If Rodgers doesn't succeed, the Jets doesn't succeed, and everybody gets fired, and everybody got to take their kids out of private school next year.
Look, you're not wrong. Everyone's gone if this whole experiment with Rodgers doesn't work out. So that is a lot of weight to have on your shoulders.
For my final 10 seconds, you know, Rodgers is he's immobile because he's old. He's throwing the ball to spots, and we need guys to just get in the right spots, and we will be more successful.
I love it. Zeus, thank you so much for the call. You've been ejected from the cockpit. All right, let's go over to Joe, see what Joe has to say. Joe, how you doing?
Hey, Ryan, how you doing?
It's nothing like the Jets just ruining my Sunday a little bit earlier than they normally do.
I'm too old for this, man.
What were your thoughts? Is Rodgers washed? What's going on? Talk to me.
Honestly, I don't think Rodgers played good, but you know what? His receivers have got to be ready, though. I mean, there's a lot of passes they didn't turn around and catch. I mean, the guy's right. Alan Lazard, he's a tall guy. He has long arms. Come on, man. You got to catch the ball over your back.
Oh, dude.
I don't care
every
how
time
tight
I'm
it
watching him drop like alligator arm, it's brutal. Brutal.
You know what, though? It doesn't surprise me because I've been watching the Jets since 1981. It's the same old shit. Always look like they're going to break out and do well. And sometimes they make the playoffs, but they don't go anywhere. So this is nothing new.
No, it's hard to have the enthusiasm when it's like, okay, we've got this new thing, and this is the new thing that's going to do it, and it's going to push us over the top, and Robert Saleh's an aggressive dude, and this is like, he's going to bring the mentality that the Jets lost from Adam Gase, and then, oh no, it's going to be Rodgers. Oh, no, it's just a consistently,
they
sad
got the greatest
state.
height ever.
Yeah,
you know what?
100%.
This is the thing. Brees Hall wasn't doing good. Why don't you go to the other running back who was doing good, but they didn't give him enough handoffs? Why don't you hit Mike Williams up the middle? The guy was a Pro Bowl receiver. Maybe if they're trying to double once in a while carry, or they're trying to, well, not Alan Lazard, but why not try to hit Alan Lazard in the end zone and work Mike Williams up in the middle? Hit Garrett Wilson.
I want to see them use the height. Use the height of Williams. Doing a little, low throw back shoulder to Williams is not what I want to see at the end there. I feel like throwing it up a little bit higher, giving him an opportunity to at least go up and get the ball would have been something to try.
I mean, this is the bottom line.
Joe, thank you so much for the call. You've been ejected from the cockpit. Everyone's getting the 2-minute timer. 2-minute timer, not 3-minute timer. We got Chris from Florida, then LA Jet fan Dave. Let's go over to Chris again. Chris, how you doing, dude?
Yeah, man. I wanted to actually talk because people were bringing up Lazard. It's just so frustrating, man. Like, he's supposed to be Aaron Rodgers' go-to guy right here. And it's like we see these ridiculous passes, and then he tries to relift our spirits with that amazing touchdown catch that literally would have botched and put more blame on Aaron Rodgers for where he threw it. It's just I don't understand. And I think what I'm frustrated the most right now is I get Aaron Rodgers is going to be Aaron Rodgers. But when I watch replays of how Tom Brady was when he transitioned from the Patriots to the Buccaneers, I see that the starting season was rough for them. But when Tom Brady was pissed off that things weren't connecting or things weren't working right, you see him on the sidelines going off to his offensive linemen. He's going off to his wide receivers, his running backs, and he's yelling at them, but he's like putting them straight. He's like, yo, stop effing around. Get your shit together. I need Aaron Rodgers to do that, man. I get he's like, yo, they should know they're professionals. But Aaron Rodgers, they have to believe that you are pissed off, man, not just putting your head down. Scream at someone, dude. Like, not this whole I'm ignoring this young kid. Exactly. I'm like, I see him upset and depressed and stuff, but I really want Aaron Rodgers to come up and be like, hey, it's like, wake up. You want me to throw you the ball? Tighten up, man. Like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah, I want to see them I want to see some accountability. Like, if Brees is going to drop a ball or if Lazard's going to drop a ball, like, Lazard, don't come back in the game. Like, send him off the field. You used to see Peyton do that all the time. I feel like you used to see Rodgers do it. And now you don't get that same accountability. For all the accountability that Rodgers mentioned at the end of last week's game, you're not seeing any of him like really being like frustrated and sending a player off, in game.
Yeah, all this trying to be nice and stuff. I get that's not his great, but he's got to tighten up, man. Seriously, like grow some balls.
Chris, good way to end that one. Good way to end that one. Let's go over to LA Jet Dave. Then we'll go talk to the chat for a little bit more. Dave, how you doing, dude? Good to see you again.
Ryan, I'm in my darkness retreat here, brother.
Oh man, I think we all need one at this point. Or is it just still too early in the day for it to be sunny out in LA?
You know what? It was a 6:30 a.m. game. I went to the Jets bar in Hollywood. Fans all excited, this, that. 17-0 start. First of all, let me say I've been wanting to connect with you. Saying meeting you at the Fireman Ed's birthday was a absolute blessing. I appreciate you. And I just that was a totally awesome day. But
dude, it was a blast.
Yeah.
I mean, I wish we could have seen a game like we did on that day.
I was gonna buy your package to Denver, and I was like so glad I didn't after that game.
Oh, dude,
and
I wish I didn't go to that game. That was so miserable.
I went to the first 3 games, and then I was like, oh, kind of burned out, and then like I didn't go to after the Denver game. I mean, and then now this. I mean, this team does not deserve our money. They do not deserve our time. They do not deserve our energy. I gave this team my heart, and they broke it. They broke my heart. I'm checking out for the season, bro. If they come to LA, I'll connect with you. But I'm checking out, man. I can't take it. We lost this season. Went to shit in the first and goal line last week when they didn't punch it in. It was just that was it. That they were done. This team is done. So I mean, where's
We got to see what happens with Buffalo.
Years?
Maybe they could figure it out and turn it around. But Buffalo losing this week would be absolutely huge to at least say like, hey, we can get back on the right track. We just need a little bit of gas here. Man, this team does not seem motivated. I don't trust Robert Saleh.
The coach, dude, like this hack hit and this coaching is absolutely morbid. Gardner's been like checked out. We have no Sauce Gardner, and it's done. So good seeing you, bro. I appreciate you. I'll connect with you, man. God bless you, and best of luck to you, bro. I appreciate you.
Hell yeah, I appreciate it, Dave. Thank you so much. I look forward to. I enjoyed meeting you. Week 3. We got Pluto in here. Let's throw Pluto on the screen here. Pluto, how you doing, dude? Appreciate the super chats.
Oh man, what's going on, bro?
Dude, I want to be happy and excited about this goddamn team, and they just like fucking beat me down consistently.
Bro, let me talk, bro. I ain't gonna lie. I don't even know what to say anymore, bro. Listen, I ain't gonna lie. I started following this channel around the time when we first started the Garrett Wilson and Brees draft, and we was going for George Pickens and the whole nine. And we was so hype about Zach, and he was supposed to get 4,000 yards and 35 touchdowns. And, gosh, man, it's like and then I converted my girlfriend to be a Jets fan, and she's just calling me and like she
I
she worked
hate you. I can't believe you did this to me.
Nah, hold on. Let me talk. So look. So my girlfriend, she's a CNA. So she calls me. She calls me first thing in the morning. And she goes like, "What are you doing right now?" I'm like, "I'm watching the Jets game. Listen, we don't need no bad comments right now." And then she goes, I'm like, "I'm gonna call you right back." I'm not gonna call her right back, bro. I'm not calling her right back right now. Cause bro, and real question, do you think Brees Hall is like getting high or something, bro? Cause like, what is he doing, bro?
Dude.
Like, even
man.
watch him take a legit moment and like even watch him in the training camp. It's like you're not seeing that like that dog, like that drive, and you're not really seeing that like he's trying to be great. He's just going along for the ride. Like everybody trying to get out of their rookie contracts to get up out of here. It's like that's what I'm really feeling like.
I mean, honestly, it feels like maybe the blocking scheme has impacted Brees more than anyone else. Going from that zone blocking scheme to a power man or whatever, it just doesn't seem like Brees. And if the running game's not going to work with him, run it with Braylon Allen, but put Brees out on the in the flat. Let him make a linebacker miss or something like that. You got to be more creative on the offensive play calling side of it.
I'm gonna call back, bro. Do your thing. I'm gonna call back, bro.
I love it. I love it. I am gonna go to a few comment questions in the chat. Let's go through there, talk a little bit there, and then we'll go back to some calls in a little bit here. Let's see. Green Guy says, Brees needs to lose reps for Braylon. No explosion anymore. Has no power. Rodgers looks just as lost as Zach Wilson did last year. Yeah, I would say I want to see more Braylon Allen. Braylon didn't have himself a good game this week anyway. I would think the run blocking is a major issue that we may have lost with Morgan Moses here. Look, I don't know how to get it right. I think at least Rodgers saying we need to pass to open up the run, I think is the correct route to try and go. Adrian says, you guys as fans don't see the problem. The Jets running game is not doing the job and O-line. Yeah, I agree with you on that as well. Dr. Cornelius, we need more screaming. Well, we've got Mike and Mari on the phone lines. So I'm going to go through a few more chat comments, and then we'll pick up there. And we'll listen to what other fans have to say here. Let's see. Ruben says, that's why Bill Belichick is the GOAT. He puts in who is doing the job. Allen is clearly better to run behind this atrocious offensive line. I think Braylon Allen is just the better running back right now, whether it's the blocking scheme or the players that you have. It's tough. I would like to see the switch a little bit more consistently. Joe S. saying, Ryan never learns. I know I never learn. I'm the kid with the goddamn hand on the hot stove. And I'm like, I wonder if it's hot. Stop. Fuck the Jets. Oh, it's a new year. We got a new quarterback. Oh, let me try it again. Oh, damn it. That's what happens year in and year out with this damn franchise. I just want to win. I have not covered this friggin' team with a winning record. They have never had a winning record while having this channel. Damn it. J-Rod, if Joe D gets Devontae, I have some hope, but the defense is going to be our thing that kills us. Not being able to stop the run is terrible. I think the defense has played fine the last 2 weeks. There was some run blocking issues early on in the season, but I don't think the defense is why we have not won the last 2 games. I think it's squarely on the offense, the offensive line, and Rodgers seemingly to either be playing hurt or in some kind of a decline. And it's very, very frustrating to see. J.E. says, Saleh is at fault for going for it on 4th and 1. Second quarter, it was a horrible decision early in the game that came back to bite us. Coaching staff is horrible. I don't understand why you don't kick the field goal. Like 4th and 1, 3rd and 1 has been our fucking Achilles heel, and this offensive line gets no push. There is no reason. Even though good teams should be able to punch it in from 1 yard out, we are not a good team right now. We are not a consistently tough team up front. That is a time where you take the points and you just live to fight another day. I don't think that was a good spot to be going for it on 4th down. And obviously hindsight is 2020. So all fans can kind of say that. I'm sure there were fans that were like, screw it, let's go for it. We're down by however much already. But I do think coaching and coaching decisions are an issue, but I think Rodgers having the 3 interceptions was the bigger factor today than going for it on that 4th and 1. Ruben says, yep, Washington Commanders have a rookie quarterback lighting up 17-3 over Cleveland. I told you guys, Jaden Daniels is going to be the best quarterback in this class. I thought he should have been taken number 1 overall, and I do think him with Cliff Kingsbury in Washington is a very lethal combination. I mean, he set the record for most or highest completion percentage in a game by a rookie. I think it was like 92% or something like that a week or two ago. I think Jaden Daniels is a stud. I think he's going to be a stud for a long time. I'm just happy he did not go to New England. Larry says, just end the season. Man, it's like every fucking year this team does this to us. 5 games in, and Aaron Rodgers already taking a full season's beating. Yeah, I mean, it feels like he's just getting licked left, right, and sideways. Alfonso, are people really saying Rodgers is washed? Like, are people watching how the O-line is playing? They are killing him. I think it's a little bit of both. I think the O-line is certainly to blame. The running game not getting going makes it incredibly tough to have any sort of consistency on offense. But I think Rodgers is also getting hit a ton, like from a pass blocking perspective. We just have not looked good the last 2 weeks. He had, 14 hits last week, I think, and I think he had at least 11 this week. So O-line has been an issue. But Rodgers doesn't throw 3 interceptions. That's not a thing that he does ever. He looks like he's consistently off his mark. And I would say that while the O-line is clearly a problem, I think we would be lying to ourselves if we didn't say Rodgers is either regressing or playing hurt. Whatever it is not to his normal standard of play. It is very, very sad to see right now, and I'm hoping it's more so injury than it is anything else. Hopefully he can kind of shake it. Disinfo, 54 pass attempts is a recipe for disaster. So yeah, let's go back through the stats real quick. Rodgers was 29 of 54. So that's 54. That is 54 pass attempts where he threw the ball. That's not including the 4 sacks that we had that he also tried to throw the ball. So that was actually 58 pass attempts where 4 became sacks, 3 became interceptions. This was not a Rodgers game at all. It's very, very sad to see with this team right now. Duncan says you need a mobile quarterback in today's NFL. Yeah, especially if the offensive line isn't going to be able to hold their blocks. You got to have some mobility. And Rodgers, sadly, right now, not mobile. Not mobile at all. Ruben saying he's absolutely right. This team is future. We should be 1-4. Yeah, look, there's no reason. If we didn't go against Will Levis week 2, we probably lose that game. This team should probably be 1-4 right now. But your record is what your record is. So we're going to be continue to remain enthusiastic until otherwise, right? Come on, guys. Wooden doors. Can we trade for a new head coach? Just fire Saleh, bring in Vrabel. Little half-season action. Why not? I don't think it works like that. I think the worst thing with firing a coach in season is feeling like you might be compelled to stick with the interim head coach after the season, which might ultimately be worse. I don't know. It's going to be hard listening to these Saleh press conferences consistently. Jerome, Jet season is getting late early. Fuck. That's a good way to put that. My Holy King, Darnold is 5-0. Yeah, look, that team, Justin Jefferson's filthy. That defense is playing lights out. That's a good coaching staff. That is a coaching staff who lost their starting quarterback that said, hey, we're not just going to roll over and die. I think coaching puts them in a great opportunity to win games. I think Jefferson was schemed open on more opportunities than not. I mean, he's a great receiver, don't get me wrong, but I think coaching is very much playing a factor in that Vikings record for sure. Air Rosie. A lot of audibles for Rodgers to call in New York with LaFleur in Green Bay because Hackett is so bad. Just too much for Rodgers to do at the line of scrimmage. Hackett must go. I've been saying it. I want to see Downing call plays. John says, I went on Buffalo Jets fans channel and was saying Quinnen isn't doing anything and he was sarcastic. Isn't doing anything and he was sarcastic. And someone tell me what Quinnen has done all season. I've been on this for at least 2 weeks now where I said our best players are not performing up to snuff. Quinnen Williams has not performed the way we want to see him perform. Now, maybe that's... I'd have to go back and look and see if he's just getting manhandled or double-teamed. But Quinnen has been very underwhelming after having a massive contract handed his way. I think Breece Hall has been incredibly underwhelming. Garrett Wilson, until today, has been incredibly underwhelming. Aaron Rodgers with 3 interceptions has been incredibly underwhelming. This has been a team effort of underwhelming performances. And look, Sauce too. Sauce didn't look good today. So this is very much more than just any one particular player. And I don't want to rain too hard down on Quinnen because I do think he is one of our best players. But you got to start turning to coaching and saying, hey, look, you're not getting these stars up and motivated. This team should have more firepower and be more competitive than they feel like they are right now. Feels like we are down behind down in distances and just when the Madden, you have the bar of like energy in the stadium and where things are rocking. It never feels like it's ever in the Jets' favor. Never feels like we're going that way. Mike says this offense looks discombobulated. It couldn't have been all on Zach Wilson last year. No, I mean, look, Zach didn't look great last year, but coaching is going to have to take the brunt of this. I think between coaching and Rodgers, this has been a very underwhelming team this year. Hennessy, thank you for the super chat. It says Saleh is too stubborn to make changes. He won't change the play caller scheme, quarterback, running back. He stands there with a straight face and makes up excuses. I think you have to switch to Downing. I don't know how you could continue to say, hey, we need a spark. Let's just keep doing the same thing we've been doing. That to me is fucking asinine. Go out and switch to Downing. Give play calling ability to Downing and just figure it out. If it doesn't work, guess what? Your asses are out in the cold anyway. You're not coming back next year if we don't make the playoffs. You think 2-5 is going to be feeling real good? No. Buffalo is gifting you the opportunity to stay in this a little longer. Gifting you. I do not want to see it. Lewis B says, one of the announcers mentioned that we had 19 straight plays with no rushing until 3 minutes to play. Why didn't we use the run to force the Vikings to call timeouts and take the pressure off the pass? Because our offense, we can't run the ball. I think we just have to pass to open up the run. I think that's it. I don't think there's anything weird about it. Our run blocking is so terrible. I would rather start the game passing to allow running lanes to open up, and then go back when defenders are tired and gassed and from running back and forth and having so many plays run against them. Then you hit them with Braylon. Then you hit them with Brees. Then you hit them with the speed. Then you hit them with the power. But I just don't see it. It feels like we've got no flow. 𝐀𝐟𝐼𝐥𝐢 says, new GM, head coach, and quarterback. Look, I don't really want to see Douglas go, I'll be honest. I think Douglas has assembled a good team. I would understand if they need to make the decision to pull everyone, though, and I don't like that. That would suck because I've seen some terrible GMs, and I don't think Douglas is a terrible GM. I think he's put us in a good situation, and our coaching is not getting the most out of our talent. Andrew says, because of our inability to run the ball and drops, I'm not going to say Rodgers is cooked. Yeah, it looks like this is a pretty dead even split. 37% right now is saying Rodgers is cooked. 32% is saying change play callers, reassess, and 31% says no. So by this definition, I think, for the vote, I would say 69% of people are saying something's got to change. Something has to change because this is not good. I would say the majority of this fan base is not feeling very optimistic right now. David, JETS, says, imagine going to London and the great flight back. I wanted to go to this game. My wife and I very much almost bought 4 tickets to go to the game to bring the girls out there. We missed a trip to Ireland last year when we had our second daughter. And we're like, you know what? Maybe we'll go do it. Maybe we'll go pull the trigger on it. And you know what? Financially, it just was not in the cards for us. And thank fucking God. If I flew all the way out to London to see this game, to have to fly all the way back, I would be spitting nails. I feel so bad for the Jet fans that are spending their hard-earned dollars on this team consistently year in and year out. I feel bad for the season ticket holders that had to lock in for 2 years of season tickets at raised prices to see subpar performances week in and week out. This team doesn't deserve your money right now. It doesn't. This is coming from someone that buys jerseys every year, so buys fucking the merchandise, everything, year in and year out. I devote way too much time to this team to get this kind of performance week in and week out. The fans that go out and tailgate 5 hours before the game, sit in the rain all last week. We deserve better. We deserve better. Chris says, Ryan, Saleh has to go. He is the worst coach in the NFL. Record proves it. Yeah, I mean, at some point, you just have to turn to the record. I think there was certainly a Zach Wilson effect that he had on that record, and I wouldn't put it entirely on Saleh, but at some point, you do have to just own it. Like, We've had 2 different offensive coordinators. We're going to eventually have 3 different play callers between LaFleur, Hackett, and Downing, I think, at some point. Where do the excuses stop? We've had a bunch of quarterbacks in there. At some point, it turns on to Saleh. If the Jets don't go on a run and everything goes perfectly, if the Jets do go on a run and everything goes well, perfectly at most 11 or 10 wins, which leaves us in a hole. Look, we're not going to get to 11 wins. I think this team, if we're going to get in, is going to sneak in with 9 or 10 wins. I don't have any indication that this team's about to turn it around and start clicking. My Holy King says, Rodgers isn't cooked. He's medium rare. Yeah, he's getting cooked. It's getting there if it doesn't wind up getting better. The only team winning this week from the AFC East are the Patriots. Patriots are going to wind up doing it. You saved yourself money by missing that game. Yeah, thank God. It's hard to justify going out and spending the high prices on the tickets and everything when you see performances like this consistently. Vegas predicted the Jets are a 9.5 win team. Yeah, man, Vegas just knows. Vegas just knows. Andrew, if Buffalo loses and we beat them next week, we're atop the division. We do. That's the silver lining in all this. We need other teams to help us out because we can't seem to help ourselves out. Patrick, everyone can reach Charlie up to the NFL whether they want to script the Jets winners or losers. We are only 2-3 and make for a good comeback story. Yeah, look, the Bills losing has helped us out immensely. And right now it looks like Houston is up 17-3 at halftime. So got some help there. Andre, our play calling and a run blocking scheme look like a high school team. We need to fire somebody today. I want to move off of Hackett. Or not necessarily fire Hackett, because I don't think they're going to do that with Rodgers here and him being his good buddy, but I think moving play calling responsibility off that would be beneficial. Boys and girls, I'm going to take this to the 2-hour mark. So before we get any further, I do just want to point your attention to our sponsor of the channel, BetUS. Get a 150% bonus match on your first deposit up to $2,000 with code YouTube150. Does Davante Adams get traded? Here are the current odds for the Jets to possibly land the wide receiver, -200. Does this loss today change anything? Does that increase our odds? Does that decrease our odds? Do Douglas and Saleh feel they have to make a move to get this team right? Head over to BetUS, use code YouTube150, get yourself a 150% bonus match on your first deposit up to $2,000. Thank you so much for sponsoring the channel. All right. See what else you guys are saying. John says, Sauce can't cover Jefferson, overrated. Look, I don't think Sauce is overrated. I think Jefferson is an elite route runner in this league. I think when you have the benefit of being the player that is making the move, like Jefferson knows where he's going to juke, you obviously have that quarter of a second, fifth of a second, whatever it is, advantage over a corner. But I think Jefferson clearly showed why he is in a league of his own right now. And I think Sauce had a bad game. I think it's all right to admit that today. Sauce is no Revis, says John. No, there's only one Revis. Hennessy says, we won't fire Hackett because Rodgers is such BS. I think it's true. And I don't think you necessarily need to fire Hackett because we do have Downing that can take over play calling responsibilities. I think play calling responsibilities is more important than the OC overall right now. Just got to start off hotter. Maybe a trade for Davante, signing Hassan Reddick and, whatever, making that enough of a spark, get something going. But right now it does not look like we have much motivation. J.E. says, Davante Adams ain't coming over to this horrible coaching. I think you could wind up trading for him and say, hey, look, let's renegotiate your contract. Let's give you, let's say we cannot franchise tag you at the end of the year and you get to walk free. That way, at least the Jets could, in theory, get a comp pick in return if he leaves and Rodgers hangs it up or whatever, or he gets a new contract from the Jets. I would kind of be okay with that. But I don't know if he necessarily wants to come here if this is how it's currently looking. Sean says, for real, put Hackett as an assistant coach with limited power, need a new play caller to spark the team. Feel bad for Garrett Wilson. I feel bad for the guys that are like legitimately trying, guys that are playing up to snuff. Garrett clearly looks like the best player on offense right now. I would say him and Braylon have been consistently the best players. And then I would say Mike Williams and Lazard are up there. Lazard, obviously, with the drops today, hurt a lot. I don't know. Says, if you're Adams, do you want to go somewhere for a year with an old friend who looks old, then what next year? So I think it depends on how big of a contract you can get, because I think the contract is important to him. Maybe becoming a free agent and choosing where you go next year is better than forcing a team to trade for you in season. Because I think the Jets could do the 1-year rental, and Adams could force the hand and say, look, I'm not renegotiating my contract at all. Him get over here. And then you say, hey, look, let's renegotiate your contract in a sense that we don't have you under contract for next year at $36 million. We just make you a free agent next year, and you can leave. Or you renegotiate with us. We can't franchise tag you, though. I think if you take away the threat of the franchise tag, then a 1-year deal's okay, because then the Jets could, in theory, get a comp pick back. If we have to cut Adams after the season, then it makes it incredibly challenging. And I think you wind up getting a disgruntled player at that point, and it's a whole issue. Air Rosie says JD screwed up the defensive line. Huff didn't want to renegotiate. I don't think Huff has looked good this year. I think he'd be better here for sure. I didn't agree with trading JFM. It sounded like JFM might have been a cut at some point anyway. I think you didn't think JJ would pop an Achilles. That's unfortunately, a major factor here. And then you took a gamble. You took a calculated risk that Reddick was going to be the guy and show up. But I don't think Reddick plays for us at this point. I would have wanted Clowney. Clowney obviously chose to go home to Carolina. So, I don't know. Jacob, what's good, Jacob? If the Bills game looks bad, fire Saleh, make Middleton head coach, Downing play caller. Next year, we decide between Middleton, Ulbrich, or if someone shakes loose. Look, I think if the Bills game looks bad, you got to fire Saleh. I think if you lose 2 of the, including this past game, 2 of the next 3, I think you got to make a head coaching change. You have to have the ability to get to the playoffs and give yourself a shot with Rodgers. And clearly something may have to change. The only thing is when you fire a coach in season, it generally doesn't lead to playoffs anyway. So maybe allowing a coach to play out the season maybe looks good for the next head coach to come in. I don't know. I agree though. I would move off Saleh if we lose another one. Allison, what's up? Allison says, involved with the team, Adams, Allen make touchdowns, and Garrett Wilson are like a linebacker when someone trying to get in and tackle. Allison, excited to have you in here. Not exactly sure what that meant. Do you think the Jets will make Hackett the interim head coach and bring in a proven offensive guy like John Gruden to be offensive coordinator? No, I don't think Hackett gets interim head coach. I think it's either going to be Ulbrich or Middleton. Realistically, that's where I see it going. Andre says, where do we go from here? I'm lost. I don't know what to do. We can't do what we can do to fix it. The book is out on how to beat the Jets. Yeah, I mean, we're not going to get any runs. Our offensive blocking is not great, and it doesn't seem like our coaching staff can fire up this team. And this season's going to go south real quickly. If you lose to Buffalo and then it stretches out, that's not good. Not good. Aaron Rodgers is going to need a walker if he keeps getting hit. Yes, he will. He's getting blasted. Kev saying no screens. Why not see screens? That's what I'm asking. I think we're in agreement here. I want to see Brees make one guy miss. I want to see high completion type throws. I want to see, playmakers get the ball early. Neutralize pass rushes. We're going to catch a little bit of a break. No Von Miller next week. Sean, I feel like JD is an underrated GM. He totally flipped our roster for the better and has now hit on Brees, Sauce, Allen, Jermaine, Wilson, Will McDonald. Yeah, and I think Tittman's a good player as well. AVT is not looking very good right now. That's also, in part because of the injuries, I think. So maybe he starts to pick it up a little bit. I think JD is a good GM. I would allow JD to select another head coach. Although I would like to see a retread head coach, whether that be a Flores or a Vrabel. Offensive juggernaut like a Ben Johnson is really what I would like to see, because I think creative offensive play calling will really go a long way. You see that with teams like Minnesota. You've seen it in the past with Daboll and having some success with Daniel Jones. I very much want the young offensive mind for sure. Rosie, we could be done by Halloween like every other year. Man, dude, if you had told me an Aaron Rodgers-led team might be done before Halloween, I wouldn't have believed it. But man, Rodgers doesn't look like his same old self right now. What do you think is the issue with Brees? His first 2 years had the worst O-line play, made plays. What happened? So early predictions. Also early predictions for Buffalo versus Jets. Look, the Buffalo has not looked good the last 2 weeks. The Jets have not looked good the last 2 weeks. So maybe it's just a team of two really bad teams right now that are kind of reeling. Neither team leads me to believe that I would want to take the over on whatever that point spread is going to be. So I would take the under for whatever they ultimately posted at. Until the Jets show they could put something together, I think Allen's going to cause us headaches next week. I don't think we get enough pressure to cause the issues that Allen generally sees when he's under pressure. I don't know. Jason, what's up, Jason? Says, we have to course correct ASAP. This season is on the line. That's why I think play caller. Play caller is the easiest one to make because you already got the guy on the roster. You don't have to fire hack it. You just have to remove play calling responsibility. And I don't even think Rodgers would necessarily be upset with it at this point. Disinfo, Brees is the biggest disappointment. Yeah, I get a feeling that the O-line blocking scheme is probably causing him some troubles right now because he seems very tentative, doesn't seem sure of himself. He's absolutely been a disappointment. Andrew, the wide nine has been around forever. Everybody knows how to beat it. In the only way works with the right personnel. We had that last year. Losing Jefferson and JFM took the meat out of the middle. Yeah, I mean, I think the running against us has slowed a little bit. I don't think it's as egregious as it was the first 2 weeks of the season, but our O-line, I think the offense has been the bigger problem than the defense. So I don't want to get on the D too much right now. Johnson, instead of Brees lightning, Brees frightening. That's what it looks like. It's null and void if you can't retain your talent. It's a waste. Yeah. Yep. Vanilla Dice Baby. Brees looked so much more explosive last year. This is insane to see. I had Brees as like an offensive player of the year candidate, and I'm not so sure he's running back one on this team right now. Brian, on Monday they play for the division. Let's see what happens and relax. Yeah, look, that's the only Buffalo losing right now is the only thing that's keeping me semi-sane. Only thing keeping me semi-sane. Jacob, we have all the fans vote for the new head coach next year. I think we could do a better job, or just have no head coach and have the fans vote for what plays we run. Fan-controlled football. Right? Sure as shit seems like we could do a better job. The difference last year is we could run block and couldn't pass block. This year, it's flipped. Sort of. The O-line just hasn't looked very good. Oh, Allison says, I know Garrett Wilson is a receiver, but we treat him like a side linebacker. Feels like he's taking a bunch of shots, maybe? Is that what you're saying? Champ Star says, Brees is playing hurt. It's obvious. I mean, he definitely looks slower and more tentative. If he's hurt, that would seem to make some sense. Ruben says, I know we keep blaming the coach, but it's really on the players. They have not been performing. We can't win the one-on-one matchups, and we drop the ball when we do get open. Yeah, I have a hard time blaming the coaching staff when it seems so clearly the players are not executing on the field. That said, a lack of executing on the field could be a motivation issue, which would then fall on the coaching staff. And at some point, you can't, you could take the player off the field momentarily or for a series or for a game or whatever, but you're still stuck with the same coach. And there hasn't been anything that leads me to believe that on longer rest, the Jets are going to outperform their opponent. Now, we do have technically a extended rest week this week, playing on Monday night, and then having our 9 o'clock game right now. So does Saleh continue his streak of, I don't think he has any wins on extended rest. So we would be fighting against ourselves if we beat Buffalo. Francesco, why is Mike Williams not featured more? Honestly, Rodgers and him not on the same page on the last throw. Sorry. But he is such a better catcher than Lazard. Yeah, look, Mike Williams should be utilized more. And I want to see more 70-30 balls. It doesn't feel like we're even throwing the ball up to give ourselves an opportunity. A lot of the balls that have gone to Mike Williams have been like shit low passes or like, I don't know. It's definitely frustrating. Definitely frustrating. Because I think Williams has been one of our better players when he has had his opportunities. Eric Rosie says, Denver ran it down our throats second half last week. The Vikings were running on us until Jones got injured. Yeah, look, it's still an issue. I think us not scoring points is allowing teams to get in that situation where they could just eat clock and allow it to be more of a running game. This offense should be scoring quicker and allow your pass rushers to kind of tee off. But we're not getting home on the pass rush either. So, I don't know. It's just I feel like when the defense only gives up 16 points, or what was it? Was it 16 points? 15 points? 16 points. We put ourselves in a position to win the last 2 weeks with our defense. It's hard for me to put much blame on them right now. Patrick says, it's obvious to see what happened to Brees. He's just adjusting to the change in run schemes, new offensive line, and they're keying in on him. Then Jamal injured him. Oh, maybe that's what we saw. You're saying week 2? Louis B., who saw this coming by week 5? Both Quinnen and Brees are no-shows. Garrett not having connection with Rodgers. Rodgers is struggling. Sauce is a non-factor. And Lazard being our number one offensive weapon is bananas. Is absolutely bananas right now. Look, it seems like Garrett and Rodgers are starting to get on the same page right now, and that would be beneficial. Sauce dropping that interception in the end zone. Man, Sauce has been very underwhelming this year. Maybe he's believing a little too much of his hype. I still think he's a great player. But man, very underwhelming from our biggest stars. And when you have that consistency across all your stars, I feel like that has to fall back on coaching. You have to be able to get guys motivated, and it doesn't seem like this coaching staff is able to do that. Patrick says, Jamal Adams' helmet to Brees' thigh is why he is slower. Before that, Hackett was trying to force feed him while the defense was keying in on him after all that hype. Yeah, I mean, maybe Brees is playing hurt. He looks a lot slower right now, and he looks tentative to try and hit the hole. Omar, question, in the first quarter on 4th and 2, why at the 30, why not take the 3 points? They were only down 10 at that point. I don't know. It didn't make any sense to me either. I think that was a bad call. Bad Eyesight, thank you for the super chat, says, let's just settle down. Bills are losing. Next week could be for first place. As much stress as we have seen on this team through the last 2 weeks, we'll say, last 2 weeks of this season, I at least feel like we are in a position, because of how the Bills have played, to at least start to get right. At least start to get right. But you got to start moving the ball consistently. And it doesn't feel like we are doing that right now. And I don't have any reason to believe that we're going to turn it around. But the fact of the matter is, this team is in a position to turn it around. And this team is in a position to get first place in the AFC East if we win versus Buffalo next week, assuming Buffalo drops this game to Houston right now. Jason says, I said the same exact thing. So we're all in on this. Oreo says, bold of you to assume the Jets will show up and play versus the Bills and make it a game. Hey, it's bold, but the Bills haven't shown up either. Got to hold our breath, right? We need Buffalo to lose. Jets are putting this on themselves. So, boys and girls, let's recap this a little bit. Jets lose 17-23. Aaron Rodgers has a stinker of a game. 29 of 54. He had 4 sacks. So really 58 passing attempts on the day, 244 yards, 2 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Not going to get it done. Not going to get it done. Boys and girls, I am going to go enjoy the rest of my day. This team has taken up far too much of my time and your time for any of us right now. I'll be back tomorrow. We'll be doing the Talking Jets show with me and Dom Monday over on the Talking Jets channel. 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock. Then 9 o'clock, I'll be back over here. We'll talk some phone calls. We'll watch a little bit Monday Night Football. Give you guys my thoughts after I've had some time to digest everything. It's been a lot of fun hanging out with you. Hopefully, we're talking a win this time next week. Or actually, not this time next week. Monday night next week, we're talking a win versus Buffalo. Keep your heads up, boys and girls. Season's not done yet.
Family on 3, 1, 2, 3.